Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. We're covering a little bit of a different subreddit. We've done it once before. Oh no, consequences. The subreddit that states people who are genuinely shocked by the consequences for their words and actions, even when the consequences are really obvious. So if you do love today's stories, please consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with it. Much love, guys. Today's story says being surly, rude, and mean at a wedding and then leaving early. And there is mentions of COVID in this story, so I imagine it's around that time as well. I was asked to be a member of the wedding party. Despite this, I was the only person, not only in the wedding party but also at the ceremony, who wasn't allowed to have a +1. This was an outdoor wedding with unlimited seating, and these people don't give a shit about COVID, so it wasn't about that. I was told it was because my relationship wasn't serious enough despite us being together for a year, that only engaged or married couples were invited, and that they didn't want some random guy in their wedding pictures who I might not even be with later in the future. They didn't want to have to look at some random guy in their pictures, even though he wouldn't have been in any of the posed pictures at all. Maybe just the background of crowd shots. There have been no conflicts between them and my boyfriend, and he's a nice and mild-mannered guy who gets along with everyone, so I don't think it was about him personally. I get to the ceremony and find out that literally everyone has a +1. Not just married couples, but there are couples there who have been dating for less time than me. This is when I start feeling surly. I smiled and played my part during the ceremony, but inside I was very surly and angry. We then got to the reception, which had way more people than the ceremony. This is where all the more distant friends were invited, and everyone there had a +1. I was literally placed at a table as the one single person, and everyone else at the table was a couple. Some at the table were other members of the wedding party, but others were random distant acquaintances. People started asking me where my boyfriend was, and I said I was told he wasn't invited. Then asked why, and I said I had no idea why. This is when I started letting my surliness show and started acting rude and mean, because I was humiliated. And then I was brought into the conversation with a couple's male friend, Dean. I was previously told that Dean has a crush on me, and I made it clear I wouldn't be interested even if I was single. Even after that, he kept trying to message me and I ignored him. But now the people who brought me into the conversation with Dean were standing around and staring at us, giggling behind their hands, like they thought they were Cupid matchmakers. Dean was absolutely a participant in this. I was meaner to Dean than I've ever been to anyone in my entire life. I was as fully rude as I've ever wanted to be when being the target of someone's romantic interest unwantedly. It's true, I don't really know if I was being set up, but I was already furious before that happened. Everyone was silent and awkward. I went back and finished my meal, and as soon as I was done, picked up my purse and left and went straight to my boyfriend's house, skipping most of the reception, cake cutting, speeches and everything. I'm now being told by the couple that they're hurt and confused why I left so early. I haven't replied. Opie then added a post saying texting the bride and groom and says, alright, after making this post I emailed them back and I started small just to see what they would say. All I said to start off was, I was uncomfortable because I was the only one without a +1 after being told nobody but engaged or married couples would have them. Multiple people at the reception started repeatedly asking me where boyfriend was, and I was getting more and more humiliated, especially since I was seated with colleague and their Tinder boyfriend. I was humiliated to be the only one singled out, and I was extremely upset. Here is the reply I quickly got. We just meant no +1s for the ceremony. It was perfectly fine for you to bring a boyfriend to the reception, and that's what we assumed you were going to do. That's what we always planned for. The reception being much larger and looser. We never heard from you about bringing boyfriend to the reception, so we didn't plan for it, but it always would have been fine. This reply is some bullshit that was never ever said to me at all or presented as an option. I would have actually been fine with that as a compromise. Opie added another post saying Dean, and being rude. I didn't want to describe the conversation because people would probably think badly of me they saw how horrible I really acted, but fuck it. This was towards the end of the meal, and some people are still eating and some people are just partying, standing and talking, circulating around the room. I was eating and someone comes over to me, goes, "Hey, could you come over here for a second? Someone has a question for you." Already, I was suspicious because that was a scenario straight out of second grade lunchroom. But fine, whatever. Maybe it has to do with the bridal party stuff. So I come over, and who is standing there but Dean, looking really smug, and a few other people are standing there who are already giggling. So I already start feeling angry. Because again, this is reminding me of second grade lunchroom scenario, and I'm already imagining how it's going to go. He actually started oh, that's making me feel ill. He's actually started out with, "Hey, beautiful." And I went with, "What do you want?" in an angry tone. I think he sensed that this wasn't going to go like what he had in his mind, but he continued what he obviously planned out. So he said, "I just wanted to ask you something." And I said, "What?" He went, "There is something wrong with my phone." Oh God. Oh no, you're not gonna do it. "There is something wrong with my phone. Can you help me fix it?" I said, "I don't know anything about phones. Sorry, I can't help you." And he turned around to go back. And he went, No. What's wrong with my phone is that it doesn't have your number in it." And I just went off. Because I already made it clear I was not into whatever this was, and I already turned to leave. But he interrupted me leaving and kept going despite it all. I was furious because I was already angry, plus he wasn't paying attention to how I felt or caring about it. So I felt like he deserved what I was going to give him. I raised my voice and said, "Dean, fuck off and leave me alone. No, you can't have my fucking number. No, I don't want to go out with you. I don't want to talk to you. I'm not attracted to you. I don't want anything to do with you. You are not interesting or attractive to me at all. I want you to leave me the fuck alone." He was looking down during all this and not at me, and I said, "I want you to look at me and agree you're going to leave me alone from now on. Yes or no?" And he said yes. And I said, "Look at me and say yes." So he did. So I turned around and left him alone after that. I know I humiliated him, and I did it on purpose. I hate to admit that, but it's true. Even though I raised my voice, it was loud in the room, so only the people standing nearby and one unrelated table nearby heard it. Holy shit, Dean got both barrels there, didn't he? And I'm going to be quite honest here, it was brutal for sure, but I don't blame OP one bit. It truly does sound like she was absolutely set up in this scenario. Sure, there was this part in the middle where, you know, the couple was saying, "Oh no, you could have brought your boyfriend to the reception," or whatever it was. But I don't think they was planning that. I think this was all a setup to try and get Dean. And Dean coming in with a "Hey, beautiful" in that chat up line. I was just like, I hid under the table myself at one point. OP talking about second grade or something. It reminded me of like when I used to go to the ice rink as a teenager, and this is how people would communicate with each other, trying to like chat each other up and stuff. Like, "Oh, can you go and ask that person to come over and talk to me?" And then there's this awkward moment as they come skating over towards you. It's like, oh, no way. Honestly, I don't blame OP one bit. I'm with OP on this one. Sounds like the whole bunch of them was taking the piss, and they just got it. They got it. That was it. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's have another story from We Know Hallow. This was in the All No Consequences subreddit, cross-posted from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. And it says, "Am I the arsehole for making my daughter return a Halloween costume? This happened in October, and my daughter is still acting cold and hardly speaking to me. My daughter, female 16, works an after-school job 5 days a week. Her high school had a costume contest for Halloween. My daughter and her friends planned a group costume to enter. She went with her friends after school to buy costumes. I picked her and her friends up from the store, and they showed me their costumes. My daughter spent $80 on hers. I was pissed, as that's a lot of money to spend on something you're going to wear for a few hours. Very irresponsible use of money. I told her as much in the car and told her it was ridiculous. I dropped her friends off and took her back to the store to return the costume and accessories. Her friends found someone else to take her place in the group, and they won the contest and a $100 Visa gift card to split. My daughter came home from school on Halloween upset. She claims she had to sit and watch while her friends had fun, and she missed out on everything. I pointed out to her after splitting the gift card it would be way less than she spent on the costume, and it was only a few hours, but she didn't want to listen to reason. Now a month later, and she is still moody and mostly ignoring me. My ex-husband told me I made her miss out, and she worked so much she missed out on a lot of stuff with her friends, and I could have let her have this. But at the end of the day, I saved her $80. I just tried to teach my daughter how to be responsible with money. She could have gotten a cheap costume, especially since she would have only worn it for a few hours. And you have to ask yourself after this, is that $80 worth your relationship? Because your 16-year-old daughter works 5 days a week after school, spent her own money on something that brought her great joy, I imagine, and more importantly, connection with her friends, and then you forced her to return it, and she had to watch her friends when this $100 will be excluded from the group costume that she helped to plan. And I'm not saying teaching her financial responsibility is a bad thing, because, it's absolutely a good thing, but you don't do it by humiliating your kid in front of her friends and forcing her to miss out on something that's memorable in high school, a memorable high school experience. And you just owe her a genuine apology, not one with a but attached, but I was trying to teach you. That's not going to help. Commenter says, you're the arsehole. Congrats. You just strained your relationship with your daughter for $80 that weren't even yours. Hope it was worth it. Sage says, you're the arsehole, OP. Really messed up her relationship with her daughter because of $80. What mum thought she was teaching? 1, how to make responsible decisions about money. 2, how sacrifices need to be made for the future. What mum actually taught her daughter. 1, it's better to lie to her mum about how much things cost so as to avoid being humiliated in front of her friends. 2, don't include mum in decisions, especially ones that involve money. 3, don't share plans with mum in case she tries to control the outcome. 4, save up as much money as she can so she can move out ASAP. And one more comment which says, what you wanted to teach your daughter the value of saving, what she learned. Her mother cares more about money than friendships and her daughter's happiness. Furthermore, you taught her that you will micromanage her until she moves out. Congratulations, your lesson on $80 will prompt her to be spending that money on rent, utilities, and groceries at her first opportunity. Hopefully one of her friends will be a roommate. You're the arsehole. But now, what do you guys make of this situation? How would you have dealt with that if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. This one's from TA Sorry Not Sorry, again cross-posted from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit to All No Consequences. And it says, am I the arsehole for not liking how my girlfriend dresses for work? So I, 43 male, don't think I'm in the wrong here. But my mother is very angry at me. And my best friend said I was a horrible person for saying what I did, and I'd be lucky if my girlfriend didn't put me out with the garbage, since I decided I wanted to act like trash. My girlfriend, 34 female, is a preschool teacher, and for some reason I can't explain, she dresses like Mrs. Frizzle, like a dress with the pattern of whatever they are studying. She makes a lot of them herself, now including matching masks. The kids love it, and the parents seem to think it's great. I don't like the amount of attention she gets, honestly. I'd prefer if she came home and changed before running any errands. On Friday, she helped my mum with something after work, and she was still in her weird dress. I've told her before I don't like when she dresses that way, but she tells me I don't have to like it, but I have no right to tell her how to dress. I was upset she went out like that with my mother, and told her that my mum said she was embarrassed and that she please not dress like that again if they're going out. I was not expecting her to call my mum and apologize. When my mum asked what she meant, she told her what I said. My mum was furious. Explained she doesn't have a problem with how my girlfriend dresses and thinks it's great she spends extra time doing things to engage her students. My mum then yelled at me for lying to my girlfriend and trying to throw her under the bus because I was being an insecure jerk. My girlfriend and I got into a huge fight. I said she should be embarrassed to be seen in public like that. She said the only thing she was embarrassed by was me. She hasn't spoken to me or done anything for me since. My friend said I was horrible and called me trash. I shouldn't have lied, but I think my girlfriend shouldn't take what I think about her clothes into consideration, and I'm not sorry for expecting her to dress more appropriately in public. Am I really such an arsehole here? And we do have a small, couple of line update edit in a moment. Imagine your partner putting in this kind of effort. She sounds like absolutely wonderful. She sounds really passionate about her job. She's putting in a super amount of effort to get kids engaged through these themed outfits. Both the students and the parents love it. That's not embarrassing at all. That's absolutely wonderful and should be encouraged. I used to love the Magic School Bus. And even worse, I mean, the whole thing's shit, but even worse on the shit cake is that you lied to her, manipulated her with saying that your mother said this. Your mother was uncomfortable with her dressing like that. And the fact that everyone around you is calling you out, your girlfriend's called you out, your mum's called you out, your best friend has called you out, and you're still here asking that question is absolutely fucking wild. Take the hints if you're even going to last. Although, to be quite frank, if I was in her position, I'd be looking at you like, I don't think you're going to change anytime soon. You're not going to suddenly change and like the way I dress or have a different opinion in that, so why would I want to be around you? But a commenter says, you're the arsehole, and quotes, I don't like the amount of attention she gets, honestly. And then says, translation, I'm insecure and don't like people looking at what I consider mine. Look, your mum and friend are right. You acted atrociously. You lied. You seem to think your opinion should hold more weight than her own. And when called out, you act like everyone else is being unreasonable. Why exactly do you think she should take your opinion on how she dresses into consideration? You take her opinion into consideration because it certainly doesn't sound like it. Rockabilly Rosie says this has got to be fake. It just has to be. Nobody could be this dense. But just in case you aren't some sort of attention-seeking internet personality, yes, you're the arsehole. 100% you're the arsehole. Your girlfriend is dressing in a way that makes herself happy. She's not dressing inappropriately for a profession, nor for any sort of everyday activity. The fact that her wardrobe embarrasses you is your problem, not anybody else's. On top of that, you try to shame her and make it seem like you have more support for your stance by lying about your mother's opinion, which is disgusting, manipulative behavior. If you can't get over yourself and this, she should absolutely break things off with you and find someone who actually loves who she is. Bring you up to find someone who, I don't know, looks the way you want them to. And one more comment which says you're the arsehole, and honestly, you seem very controlling. I'm not even going to bring up the age gap, which already red flag. But the fact that you think you have any right to tell her how to dress is appalling. Also, you mentioning that she hasn't done anything for you since getting upset. She's not a toy. She's not your maid or your property. You're the arsehole OP, big time. And I honestly hope she has enough self-worth to leave you. But then there was a little update, as I said, which simply said, edit, I'm sure you will all be pleased to know we broke up tonight. She said I'm too controlling and narrow-minded, so she broke up with me. And let's face it, this is going to be a surprise to absolutely no one. Act like a Burke, you're going to get treated like a Burke. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts and let's have another story. Now our next story says, Opie's daughter is outraged that her parents sold her car after getting caught driving irresponsibly. It starts from obviously the parents' point of view, which says, my daughter was 14. Wife and I decided we would buy a car for her to use on her 16th if she proved herself to be responsible, got good grades, etc. There would be a contract of sorts to ensure we were all on the same page. The stipulations were continuing good grades, good attitude. She could only bring one friend with her somewhere to begin with. We had to know where she was, and the obvious two, don't drink and drive, and don't text and drive. We made it clear that we were buying the car. It was for her to use. We got the car a 2012 Honda Civic. She has a summer job right now. It's summer break, so she's doing stuff with her friends, etc. In a few months, she will be off to college. Everything was going swimmingly until someone on the Nextdoor app started posting pictures and videos of bad drivers in the area. And lo and behold, my daughter was posted with her face down as she texted and rolled through a stop sign. Once with her face down in her phone at a stoplight. I was livid. My wife was the one who showed it to me. We found out there were more instances from her Instagram stories, and we decided, no. Wife and I up and sold the car. We didn't lose very much in the process, except of course our daughter completely came unraveled. It's so unfair. I didn't hurt anyone. Everyone's doing it. How am I supposed to get to work? What about when I go to college? Well, we said no. It's not unfair. You hurt us by being a shitty, irresponsible driver. No, not everyone's doing it. You can walk, ride your bike, or take the bus. And as for college, you don't need the car to get to and from classes. And again, ride your bike or walk. She tried to play the "how can you send your daughter to college without her safety in mind" card. And I said, well, now you're concerned about safety. And she just up and screamed. This has everyone in our life up in arms and divided. The grandparents think we're being over the top and awful, that grounding her would have sufficed. They threaten that they will buy her a car again if we try to send her to college without one. The car is already sold, so there's no going back. I think what we did was absolutely correct. The actions have consequences, and we would be in the wrong to pull back from that. In terms of her going to college, well, she made that choice. She had a car, it came with certain stipulations, she disobeyed us, and now she pays the price. So am I the arsehole? Someone makes a comment about the grandparents getting involved and potentially buying a car and says, "You better shut that shit down immediately. You and your wife have done a good job and the punishment seems proportionate in my opinion. Distracted driving kills, full stop. Old people love to spoil their relatives because it makes them feel involved. Also, it sounds like there might be some deeper need to undermine your authority as parents. Hopefully it isn't malicious and just misplaced desire to care for their granddaughter. Not the arsehole." Edit, this hastily written comment got a lot of attention. On the off chance that OP decides to look back through this, I wanted to add some comment to explain what I was saying. One, daughter certainly is an adult and can accept whatever gifts she wants. I never really meant that OP should legally shut down the grandparents. I simply meant to meet with them and set them straight on the facts of distracted driving and the extent to which daughter violated valid expectations. Make it clear that they could potentially do some serious damage to your relationship with daughter and that they should stay out of it no matter their intentions. Escalating things by threatening to withhold tuition payment, as some have suggested, would just drive a much deeper wedge between them all. 2. I feel your punishment was fair, but ultimately limiting. As others pointed out, heavy restrictions placed on her use of the vehicle could have been better long term. Could have given her a chance to earn it back and truly learn a lesson rather than build resentment. Theoretically, it's not too late to do that. Perhaps an agreement that, with good grades, the parents could buy a newer car for the following year. Perhaps due to her record, if she wants the car, she will have to pay the insurance. Commenter says everyone sucks here. I'm 100% sure half the not the arseholes have texted and drove at some point. I don't disagree with consequences, but you've taken 0 steps to make her a safer driver. Texting and driving is serious, but what's going to happen when she buys her own car and you're not around? One-strike policies are generally bad ideas. Maverick says everyone sucks here. Your kid is an idiot, but she's also a kid, so it's kind of a given. I don't know what lesson you think you're giving her, but selling the car is not going to help her become a safer driver. Is your plan to just wait until she buys her own car and then hope for the best? I think you've confused punishing with teaching here, and it makes you guys arseholes. Absent Glare says not the arsehole. Your daughter is being naive. This is natural for her, but she needs to understand it doesn't matter that no one was hurt. What matters is that someone could have very easily been hurt. She's wielding a deadly weapon, and she has consciously chosen to wield it with reckless disregard for the safety of those around her, your friends and neighbors. Your grandparents also need to back off. They aren't raising your daughter, you are. Frankly, there isn't any need for a college kid to have a car these days. You can get a place to sleep near the college, and you can get most things you need delivered to your door. A car means you need to pay for parking, find a parking spot, maintain the car. It's actually a bit of a hassle, honestly. This is a parenting decision. Granted, after turning 18, you legally become an adult, but as a kid, remain dependent on their parents to age 25, especially college-bound kids. They're in your custody, and you're in charge. Are grandparents going to pay her tuition? Do they want to adopt her? No, they're undermining your authority as a parent. And one more comment which says everyone sucks here. Texting and driving is freaking idiotic, but you all went nuclear when something more appropriate would have been a temporary ban. 2 weeks or a month maybe from the car, or the phone, or both. Personally, I'd make her choose, but respect her choice. Edit, it's almost certain to be her choosing to keep her phone anyway. Your grandparents didn't threaten, they promised. Threatening implies they did something wrong. They have the right to buy anyone they please a car. And it was just a huge mix between not the arsehole and everyone sucks here. Loads of people saying not the arsehole, actions have consequences, etc, etc. Other people saying, maybe it was a nuclear option and didn't really teach her anything, and one day she will get her own car. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.